Hey everybody, it's Joe Johnson, host of Beatle Brunch. It is my pleasure again to be on the radio and on the Zoom here on the internet with Brian Ray, the guitarist at one time for guitarist, keyboardist, singer, songwriter at one time for Etta James. And for the past, can you believe it's been almost 20 years you've been playing with Paul McCartney, bass, guitar, vocals, regular tomfoolery, hanging around. Brian, how are you, brother?
I'm great, Joe. How are you doing, man? It's a pleasure to be with you guys.
Thanks so much, man. You look great. You look, I don't know, the lockdown has served you well. I know you'd rather be touring and playing, but you're looking good with the hat and the handkerchief and the whole layout and the studio. Tell us about your studio.
Well, I've been calling this studio Bad Manners. That's Manors.
I like that.
Where I've been recording here since I moved here, and this is in Santa Monica, California, my home studio. And I've been recording here since 2008, something like that.
Wow,
so
okay.
Made a lot of cool sounds in here. And yeah, it's a small and humble space, Joe.
Yeah.
It's not a big expanse. It looks bigger on Zoom.
Well, I'm operating out of a guest room, so I've got my studio over here on the side, but here at the house. But are you using Pro Tools? What are you editing with?
Yeah, Pro Tools. That's right. Pro Tools HD and all of the toys that come with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you, when you start to do a recording, what's the first piece you lay down? Is it a guitar track? Is it a keyboard? Is it something you won't use, just kind of a reference, just to get a glimpse of the background here?
Sort of all of the above. And it depends on what the format of the recording is. I mean, my preferred way to record is, of course, the old-fashioned way with real people in a real room with an engineer.
Yeah.
As was the case with my previous singles, The Tears of a Clown, One Heartbeat, and Pirate Radio. Those were all done in 2 days at a studio called East West, in a room that was famous for being the Pet Sounds room. Where Pet Sounds was done, where Monday was done, and Happy Together, and Jan and Dean hits. And so that's my preferred way to record, because there's something about the community of rock and roll, the community of music, the camaraderie, the laughs, throwing away bad ideas in order to get to a good idea, laughing, having a bite, going back to it. It's just something that's so exciting. And to me, I mean, all of the records that I grew up on, and I know you might be the same, were done in that fashion, whether it was at Abbey Road or at the Pet Sounds room at East West recording. But now during a lockdown, it's a different situation. There's another way to record. Mm-hmm. Pro Tools gives you that advantage. It's a digital recording interface. So for your listeners, you no longer need a big tape machine with 2-inch tape running around and 10 people being your engineers. Now you can do this with one person in the comfort of your own home. And during lockdown, I'm really glad to have that incredible tool to be able to do this with. And you're right, in the case of this song, you would start with, well, the song should be written by the time you start.
Well, that isn't always the case. The Beatles, it wasn't always the case. And you say with camaraderie, things get written in the background from your friends, right? I mean, in addition, sometimes.
That's
Tips.
right. Yeah, that's precisely right. In the case of recording at home and doing more of it yourself, you want that song to pretty much be done when you start.
Sure. Okay.
Because there's no one else to toss ideas back and forth with. So you would like to be there. Anyway, you start with, say, a rough guitar. And that guitar may or may not end up in the final recording. It's what you use to block out the form of the song and the changes. And, you have a click track and a tempo. But even before the guitar, I'll usually lay down rough drums, just a 2 and a 4, boom, bap, doom, bap, doom, and then fill in with that guitar, then bass, and then go and fix the drums a bit, just on and on.
Nice. Now that's how people are recording these days, and that's what your boss just did. He was over in England, and he decided to lay down all these tracks that became McCartney 3 that will be coming out soon. But let's
I
talk
hope.
about what you've been doing in lockdown, because you haven't played have you played in a band situation, not since Dodger Stadium, or have you gotten together and jammed or played a club?
No, nothing since Dodger Stadium. That was the end of a wonderful long year of touring, and we knew we were going to be on hiatus for a bit. And the plan, as you may have heard, was to go back out there and
Sure.
do a tour of Europe, ending up at the beautiful big festival in the UK, Glastonbury.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Well, then the pandemic came and all of those plans were dashed. And I remember hearing the news of this virus kind of picking up steam and thinking, oh my God, how's this going to affect us? And
Yeah.
sure enough, the
Yeah.
whole thing got pulled for good reason, mainly because nobody wanted to travel anymore. So
Sure.
it was a tough thing, and really tough. I can imagine what that was like for Paul and for Barry Marshall and those who put together this incredibly complex plan. It's not simple to do these things.
Sure. No.
And certainly heartbreaking to undo these things. So my heart went out to them, but we all had to do our part to be safe and to keep others safe. And so here we are, and this has gone on a lot longer than any of us
year
thought
and a
it
half.
would.
I
And
mean, for your tour, it's been since June or July of last year, so almost a year and a half, really, for you.
yeah, it's remarkable. Anyway, what I've been doing with this lockdown time is recording more music, like my new single, Got a New Thing, and the B-side, Whisky Train, and the song before it, Ain't Superstitious and Spellbreaker. Now, those weren't during lockdown, but, I
Right.
did them in the same fashion.
Yeah, fantastic. So I want to talk about the single, "Got a New Thing," the thing that struck me immediately was your cold vocal on the front, your a cappella vocal on the front. I love that, and I have never heard that on a Brian Ray song. So tell me, was that by design when you wrote the song, or was that something that developed in the studio?
Great question, Joe. It's the kind of thing that developed as the song developed. So the lick, do 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 do,
Yeah,
that lick would be a great strong opener. But as the song developed, I knew that at the end of the chorus, I was going to empty at the end of the chorus onto the title line, which would be a break and be a big a cappella, wall of vocals. And then naturally I thought, oh my God, that's so beautiful and big and hooky. I want to put it in the beginning too. So we recorded it that way to start with it, which is a novel idea,
yeah.
but it's not unusual. You've heard it on records through all of our past. People start with the tagline sometimes just to be different. And
Yeah.
I'd never done it before, like you said, so it was a good time to try it.
Is it just you singing on that front part, or is Abe and somebody else helping you on that?
Yeah, good question. So to differentiate the background vocal line from my vocal, I wanted to have different vocalists doing it. So I arranged it here and wrote the parts. And then Scott Schreiner from Weezer came to
Right.
play bass and to sing his parts. So he sang all three of the parts and then doubled them, meaning now there's 6 Scott Shriners in the beginning. And then Abe Laboriel Jr. from McCartney's band was kind enough to play drums, and I sent him the track with Scott Schreiner on it, and he just doubled Scott Schreiner's parts. So now there's 6 of Abe Laboriel Jr.'s on there. There's 12 vocalists on the intro, and I wasn't needed. Not until
Oh,
the lead vocal comes in. They didn't need me, Joe.
wow. Well, it does sound really tight and perfect. And I mean, I thought you were on it, so I'm giving you the kudos there, but it is nice the way it turned out.
Thank you so much. Yeah. It's just for contrast and to make it sound unusual. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. It really hits. It starts, like you said, starts with the hook. It's like She Loves You or Eleanor Rigby, whatever. Boom, there it is. You're hooking away right from the front. So,
Oh, thank you.
so have you been you've been writing, recording? In my case, we've been doing odd jobs around the house. I mean, have you done any honeydews? And you just kind of because you're probably not going out a lot.
Yeah, tons of that. I have a little getaway house, sort of a cabin on a hill out in the desert in Palm Springs. And it's been just a source of great joy, great relief from the city. It's so quiet and serene out there. And I have a whole bunch of cool friends who are is equally into vintage cars and
Yeah.
vintage guitars, art and mid-century architecture and furniture, just like me. So all of these lovely friends out there. And it's like discovering another tribe. Your
Yeah.
sort of tribe, my people are out there. So tons of honeydew, like tons of fixing up the place and little stuff and big stuff. And yeah, it's been a real joy to
I
have
actually
that
watched
project.
the YouTube video of the guitar of Gibson when they came
Mhm.
out to do the tour of your home, and the Les Paul is really 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 beautiful.
Yeah, for those that don't know, I did in fact dig a new pool out there, and decided that since it was going to be custom, I could do whatever I wanted with it. So I thought I'm going to do a guitar. I thought maybe an acoustic guitar, and a friend said, "Why don't you do a Les Paul?" And I said, "Well, that's a cool idea," and started to imagine that. And it has the neck, and then the jacuzzi is the headstock where the tuning keys are. And then I thought, the kicker, what if I call it Les Pool? So
It's
that's what
perfect.
we did.
It's perfect. Perfecto. Tell me about the back the flip side, the back side of that, the Whiskey Train, which is the Procol Harem tune. And I think you put everything but the cowbells on that one, man. That really rocks. You did a great job with that song. Talk
Thanks so
about it a little
much.
bit and what it meant to you.
Well, I was a big fan of Procol Harem. I'm a weirdo. I was listening to like Sly Stone, Aretha Franklin, and Procol Harem. So it's
I
like,
don't know. That sounds pretty good to me.
it was a cool variety of music, plus many others. But in my high school band, when I was 17 years old, we had like the best high school town in the beach area. And we loved playing deep tracks from bands that we loved. One of them being Whisky Train by Procol Harem. And it's just a cool guitar riff song about a guy who drank too much and has given up the booze. And I just thought the riff is so compelling, and it's got this great drum part that includes cowbell rather than a cymbal or a hi-hat. And so I dusted off my Whiskey Train chops, a song that was written by Robin Trower and Keith Reed for Procol Harem.
And doesn't
Uh,
Robin Trower, he plays on the original, right?
that's Robin
Yeah, yeah,
Trower,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. And sung, of course, by Gary Brooker, the guy who's the lead singer of Procol Harem. And I just thought it would be a fun thing to do. I was approached by Carla Olson, a dear old friend of mine from the LA band, the Textones, who asked if I'd like to join her on a duet for an album with a train theme. And she offered a bunch of song ideas, and I thought, oh, those are cool. And then I started thinking, well, what about Whiskey Train? I mean, I know it's a little bit more of a rock thing than what she's up to. She was more into an Americana kind of a thing, songs by Dylan and the Byrds and very cool stuff. But I thought, why not do a little rocker? And I played them this song as they weren't that familiar with it. And they said, well, that rocks. That sounds fun. And I said, well, if you'd like to, I'll start a track for it and you come over here and sing. And that's what we did.
Wow, it came out great. I really love it. It really, I mean, I don't know, the production on the both of the records is just so perfect and so beautiful. And a lot of times when you have loud guitars and rock and roll and drums, you can't hear the vocals, but you really did a great job of mixing. Everything cuts through. It's really, really beautiful.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, I guess to a degree that is arrangement ideas. But it's really about the team that I have. My engineer here is a guy named Jose Alcantar,
Uh-huh.
or Jose the singer, if you're following along in English. And then my mixing engineer is a guy named Joe Zook. And Joe's done a bunch of songs, a bunch of albums by One Republic and Action and Katy Perry and Pink. So he really knows how to dial in the sounds so that you can really focus on whatever it is he thinks you should focus on. The lead vocal a lot of the time is the main thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. So I know they can go to brianray.com, and I know Little Steven's Garage debuted the A side for you. And where else can people find your music? Probably just the quickest is to go to your website, right?
Yeah, brianray.com is a great place to start, or Wicked Cool Bandcamp. The single on vinyl, on
Orange vinyl, right? For that.
transparent orange vinyl for the new single. That can be found either signed or unsigned at my website or at the Bandcamp, or digitally, wherever you get your music, whether that's Amazon or iTunes or wherever you get it.
So what do you miss most about being out on the road? I mean, what are the highlights of when you see the guys again for the first time and it's been several months? Have you guys gotten together even just to shoot the breeze or have dinner or anything? But everybody's all over the place, right?
Everyone's all over the place. So Abe is in New York.
Right.
Rusty is nearby, and I just had lunch with him and had a great chat with him a couple of days ago. Wix, I haven't seen in forever, but we stay in touch via texts and messages and jokes and memes and
Sure.
social media. And Paul stays in touch with texts and emails as well, sometimes a phone call. And what I miss most is the camaraderie and the laughs, and more laughs. And of course, the music, it's this collaboration that we've been doing for nearly 20 years now. It's really something,
I'm sure I already know the answer to this, but is the McCartney band one where in the middle of a set, he'll shout something out and you just have to play it without knowing it was going to appear? But you guys do that so well, just whether it's happy birthday or whatever is going on, in his mind, just to play something. Each other so well, right?
Yeah, I think there's a great deal of trust and familiarity after nearly 20 years together. And we've always, we're all just very attentive to Paul, and we all have our eyes on him and our ears on him. Even if it looks like we're in our own world, we're not. We're in his world.
Sure.
And it's a pleasure to be there, of course. And he's great to follow. He's so inspiring and so, I don't know, he's just one of a kind. Anyway, he'll be up there on stage, and yes, he will throw in a song once in a while, and sometimes he won't let anybody know.
Right.
He'll just turn around and call it out, and it's almost as if he's wondering if he can catch anybody out not paying attention. Well, the band is always paying attention. We're 15 feet away from him.
Yeah.
But we're not the only ones involved in a Paul McCartney show. You've got the lighting guy,
Sure,
you've got the video guy, you've got the monitor guy, and there's a lot of programming that goes into our shows. So they have to be able to call up a different song or just fly by the seat of their pants. And I think he gets a kick out of that. Yeah, he does call out stuff.
What's the weirdest thing, if you can remember, that he ever called out? But it was fun. I'm sure it was fun to do it.
Oh, that's a good question. I'm a little bit short on an answer for that. It's just, it happens once or twice every single tour. So I think the fans would probably remember better than I would the times he's called something out. And we just, or he'll drop a song from the set. If he's not feeling it in that particular moment, he thinks the crowd might want something else. Well, he's a performer. He knows his audience, and he's up there. He's the one with the responsibility to give them what he feels they're looking for. And so, hey man, follow Paul. That's the idea.
Give us a songwriting tip, because you've been around the best in many ways, Steven Tyler and others. What is your process for writing songs? And I guess, is it similar to when you record, you lay down this or that first? Do you start on a keyboard? Do you start on a guitar? Do you just hum a little loop of something? What's your secret?
It's interesting, Joe. It can be any one of those things, or it can be a combination of those things. I'll tell you, rarely is it the whole song coming out at once, but that has happened as well. Right. And I think that happens differently with every songwriter. In the case of my new single on Wicked Cool Records, Got a New Thing, it started with the lick. Do 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 do. And then I thought, okay, that's cool. That's like a 2-bar phrase, but what if it was twice as long? So I added on to it, and then that leads to the chords that I use in the verse, and that gives you the verse. and then you write a chorus that goes along with it. And in this case, I rewrote the chorus once. I had an entirely different chorus. And I thought, oh, that's cool, that's fun, but maybe something just a little simpler and more broad. And that's why it turned into Got a New Thing.
And I guess because I do it with digital, I guess if you change the song, you can always copy it and move it down the line and have a different version of it. I don't know if you would ever go back and use those original lyrics one day, like in a box set of, Brian Ray's demos, those kind of things.
Well, it's interesting you say that. Yeah. So working into Pro Tools computer program, you have the ability to move things around because you're in the digital realm. You're editing like you would in, iMovie or any sort of movie app as well. It's the same idea. You have lines of material and you can move them right or left, up or down, separate them. You can do any number of things. And in this case, my lyric for the original chorus ended up in my bridge.
Okay.
And so I did use it. I kind of recycled it. I thought this is too fun to just toss away, and it still pertains to the song. So I used it in the bridge.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's all sounding great, and I'm sure you can't wait to get back to your bandmates and try to pick up where you left off, or even make it supersize it, make it better. But hopefully the world will get it together, and people will wear their masks and take care, so we can get back to rocking and rolling. I did want to ask you. We were talking about the band. Last time I saw your show in Miami, something happened. You and Rusty lean over and you whisper something, and then you burst out laughing. And I know the audience always wants to know. I'm sure you can't remember that particular moment, but what is usually happening when, you guys lean over and then?
Usually it's just random, and it's sort of in the first third of the show, and I'll just walk over to Rusty and say something incredibly silly. And it would be just a couple of words, and the goal is to make him laugh, and then his laugh makes me laugh, and that's all it is. It's never the same thing, but it's always something inane and silly just to get a laugh.
All right. What's the best part of your life right now? What are you doing that we're all envious of, and we're happy for you?
Well, I'm very excited about my girlfriend Mandy and I have been together for a little over a year now, so that's been lovely. And we're working on a podcast together. She has an amazing media empire, a budding new empire called Black Barrel Media, and we have a new podcast that'll be coming out next year, and that's with iHeartMedia. And it's called On Tour with Brian Ray. So I'll be talking to guys like me about doing the things that we do on tour and around touring.
This is an opportunity for you to call in some favors of buddies and do a little Zoom thing or whatever audio quality is good for the podcast. And yeah, right?
That's right. I've got compromise on a lot of people. They have to show up or that will come out.
Awesome. Brian Ray, man, it's so great to see you. You look great. I don't know, the lockdown has allowed you to just stretch out, relax, be creative,
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I lost a couple pounds and eating well and running on the beach, taking a bike ride, doing those things that we need to do because, hey, I can't go to the gym.
Right.
But yeah. Thank you very much for saying so. You look great too.
Oh, thanks. Well, one of the things I miss is going to the classic car auctions where I've seen you at a couple of those. And it's good to see you, Brian. You're looking good, man. Keep creating and making music. And I can't wait to see you guys back on the road again.
Thanks so much for your time, Joe. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, everybody. It's Brian Ray. You might know me from Etta James or from Paul McCartney or from my solo stuff or from the Bayonets. Well, I've got a new single for you. It's called Got a New Thing, and it's on Wicked Cool Records. You can find it wherever digital music is sold, or you can come to my website, brianray.com, and get yourself a physical copy of the vinyl, signed or unsigned, or go to Wicked Cool's Bandcamp. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting music and for listening to my new record, Got a New Thing. Thank you. Got a new